Welcome to the Sacred Emergence Podcast. I'm your host, Michelle Wong, and I'm so thrilled that you're here. This is a place where you'll be guided to living your most aligned life so that your truest, most radiant self can emerge. We'll be jamming on topics ranging from spirituality, entrepreneurship, to wellness and lifestyle design, and everything in between that can support you to grow, evolve, and shine, all the while not taking ourselves too seriously. So if you're ready to step into your leadership, break through limiting beliefs, own all of who you are, and expand in abundance, grab yourself your faith cup of tea and let's dive in. Hey, welcome back to another episode of the Sacred Emergence Podcast. It is Michelle Wong, your fearless host, and you have me for today. This is going to be a short episode. I just wanted to give some updates and just share the unfolding of what's been happening in my life since I last give an update. So where did we leave off last time? Basically, I was heading back to Seattle because I got myself a full-time job, and this does not change my business. I am still growing it. My offerings might shift a little bit just because, my interests change, my ideas shift and all of that, but it does not mean I'm closing my business. I've always had a side gig, right? Even if a side gig or something, right? So this does not really change me and me showing up. So I just wanted to reiterate that. So where am I right now? I'm in Seattle. Right now. I actually have gorgeous views of the water. If you caught my last episode with my last update, I was sharing how I ended up doing house sitting / pet sitting through this site because I needed a furnished place to stay while I was looking for apartments. And things just, it really worked out. I mentioned that I found a place and they ended up choosing me out of a bunch of applicants. So here I am now, and it's been really, really lovely. It's really close to where I used to live in Seattle. And my last episode, I talked about trust and surrender. And I actually wanted to share a little bit more about that because it continued. There was a continuation of the trust and surrender. So part of the original plan was for me to stay with my friends for a few nights before this house sitting / pet sitting opportunity started. And it turned out that my two friends unfortunately caught the vid. So they preferred, obviously, to not have me there because, who wants that stuff spread, right? Which I totally understood. So I ended up booking 2 nights on Airbnb. And luckily enough, the place that I booked had, I think 100% cancellation if you canceled within a certain time frame. And because literally the next day after I booked my few nights stay with the Airbnb, basically the evening that I landed, I was needing a place to stay. I got a message from another friend who, she knew I was looking for a place and she didn't know all of the intricate details, but she's like, hey, I'm actually out of town for a few days. Do you want to stay at my place while I'm gone? And I kid you not, it was literally her dates of her not being in town was basically the day that I needed. So the day that I arrived was the day that she was heading out. And I was able to spend the few nights that I needed instead of using the Airbnb, which was amazing timing. And it was perfect. It was just really nice to, be able to just land and have my friend host me energetically while she was away. So that was lovely. And here I am at the house sitting / pet sitting situation overlooking the water, and it's been really, really lovely. And the really cool thing is that even if I ended up not doing the house sitting pet sitter thing, right? Let's just say the idea never came to mind and I'm like, oh my gosh, I don't have a place to stay that's furnished and all of that. Because literally all the sites that I reached out to that were paid, like they wouldn't take me. Like, I guess because I wasn't like a traveling healthcare professional, and I looked at a few sites that were directed that. But anyways, um, like at the end of the day, like somebody reached out, like my friend reached out to me, and there was still plenty of time. Like I probably had like maybe like 4 or 5 days until I actually landed in Seattle. Right? I mean, that's really cutting it close. Like from my level of comfort, I would not ideally, I would not do that. Like some people have like major like I got like, I still have time, but like it's just amazing how things continue to work out, even though I ended up finding, this beautiful house sitting, sitting situation. But it just goes to show that like there was a backup. Like the divine offered a backup for me of like, hey, if something fell through, you could stay at your friend's place. It's just like, but I still had to do things that was, at least um, in my mind, like I still had to do some work, right? In terms of like making sure that I could find a place to live, and last resort was going to be Airbnb and all of that. But like the universe, like the divine, I'm going to say divine, the divine had my back. And like, I don't know, there's just something to be said about at the end of the day, like there's always a way. It just requires us to be able to like be in action, plant seeds. Like my friend would not have reached out to me unless she knew that I was looking for something. So anyway, continuing with my story around getting to Seattle and arriving in Seattle. The moment I landed, I was on project look for a permanent place to live because, as I shared previously, I could not find a place while I was not in Seattle. It was actually really hard. And I looked at 3 places in one day. And I'll be honest, I was very disappointed. I was disappointed at the price and what I was getting for the price. I was like, like it was like it was just very small. It was, in my opinion, a lot of money for very little. Um, and it was supposed to be already cheaper because of what's been happening, in the city. So I was like, okay, if I actually want something that is within like something a little bit more unique, if I want to stay somewhere that is a little bit more unique, given the time frame that I have, then I'm going to need to expand my budget, which is what I did. And the moment I did that, I found a beautiful place. It was actually like I had two options. I had two options. One was a 1 bedroom, the other option was a 2 bedroom place, and the difference in pricing wasn't that big. And if I had a 2 bedroom place, it would just give me more options, right? Because the second bedroom can serve as an office. I could do yoga in there. I could host guests. So I'm like, yeah, I'm going to take the second bedroom. I'm going to do the 2 bedroom, and it has nicer views. It's on the top floor. That's everything that I wanted in an apartment, right? With my washer dryer and unit. And I was like, yes, that's the one I'm going to take. So I applied, and I heard back today that I got it. And I'm so excited because I get to move in before I start my gig, my job, and it's close to where I used to live. So I know the area pretty well. And it's just been lovely. So I might have mentioned that I've been doing this meditation called the Violet Flame Meditation. I will share a link below. I'm not affiliated with the creator of it, but she has like a 7-day free trial. And then after that, there's a monthly subscription, which is super low cost. But I really love the Violet Flame Meditation. And I've been doing that not consistently, but I've been doing that enough that I really feel like whenever I'm feeling anxious or I feel like I'm in my head or I'm like, this needs to happen or I'm in control mode, I just like call the violet flame. And it's, we could do this in so many different ways. You don't have to use a violet flame meditation. Um, Tosha Silver, who's the author of Outrageous Openness, she always talks about offering it to the divine, like offering the problem up to the divine. There's always a better solution, right? There's always something, another possibility if we can't conjure one. Like just like let it go. And so this is probably like this episode is part 2 of my last update. And I've been doing that because I find that so often I'm in my head, I'm trying to control the situation. I could feel my grip on it needing to turn out the way I want it to. Like I literally feel my fists just hold on so tightly. And when I remember to breathe and be like, oh my goodness, like I need to just let this go and just hand over the problem and the worry. I'm just going to hand it over. I just feel my body relax. And be it the violet flame meditation, be it offering it to the divine, which to me is the same thing, be it having a God box and just writing down the worry or the desire and just kind of putting in the God box. I'm like, I'm letting the divine take over. It just gives me a break. And literally, it's not a prescription or anything like that, right? It's like there's this invitation for a higher power to take over. And the more that I surrender, the more that I let go, the more that I just, okay, I'm just going to breathe and remember that I don't have to carry the world's burden or even just my burdens, my perceived burdens on my shoulder. And just remember that when I allow for something else to unfold, like magically something tends to happen. And it's not like just me sitting in my corner not doing anything. Like I had to be willing to look at a higher pricing. If I wasn't willing to budge, it's okay, but then it would limit my options. And I had a time frame, right? I'm like, I need a place before I start work. Um, and it's so funny because a lot of the places that I was scheduled, like there was one place that I was actually scheduled to look at, and the morning of, they canceled it. They're like, this apartment is already under application, like it's already pending application. And I was like, oh. Like there was just all these things where it wasn't working, right? Like the places that were slightly lower in the pricing, the location wasn't that great. It was a lot more dated. Mostly it just like if I didn't have to take it, I wouldn't, right? So, and I didn't have to. I had an option of, hey, let's just expand my budget a little bit. And I had the wiggle room to do that. So, it's one of those things where I had to be willing to participate um, and be open to a different possibility. So anyway, this is the short episode. It's a continuation of continuing to surrender. And literally it is a daily practice. It's not like, oh, I did that once, that's it. It's like a constant thing that it's a muscle that I still need to flex and to practice and to continue to build. And then sometimes I completely forget. And it's one of those things where this just reminds me of when we commit to living a life where um, we are in the when we're in the realm of the possibility, of the surrendering, of the trust. It's not just I just did it once, right? It's a continuation of continuing to do it. If you hear a little sneeze, that's the dog that I am pet sitting for. He just sneezed a few times. But anyways, it's like when I made the decision of traveling, right, and being in the mystery and being in the unknown and, leaning into the uncertainty. Um, it's like when we're able to say yes to that, it's not just a one-time thing, right? It's like, because it's so easy to slip back into the comfort zone. And I love one of my friends and clients, she said, I like to reframe it of instead of stepping outside my comfort zone, I'm expanding my comfort zone. I actually really like that, right? Because the idea of stepping outside the comfort zone, it feels not only scary and like it's like the safety net got pulled away. So I love that image that she shared. Catherine Elizabeth, I interviewed her. We talked about changing the paradigm, like a new paradigm in branding. But I love her when she talks about expanding our comfort zone. Because that's essentially, it's a muscle that needs to get built, and it's like a deeper surrendering. And it's a reminder that like it's not like I just did it once, and then I don't have to do it again, right? It's like the willingness to stretch a little bit and to not always have to have things be a certain way. Like I had to be flexible with looking at different places. I had to be flexible. I mean, I gave I don't know, the carbon copy gentrified apartments. I looked at a few of them and they're all very similar. The floor plan was similar, the pricing was similar, the size was similar. It was just, the location was slightly different, but I was like, I'm not feeling it. And this new place that I'm going to be moving into, it's a little bit quirky. The layout's a little bit quirky, but I like quirky, so I'm a little quirky. So it works really well for me. Anyway, that was what I wanted to share for this episode. It was I wanted to share that almost as a timestamp as well, right? Like also for myself, like a reminder that it does get to be easy when we allow it to be easy. And also, like, it doesn't all have to be up to us, and it requires a little bit of flexibility. So the trust, the surrender, being open to something else, and also at the same time, we're not passive about it. Like, we have to be willing to do things differently. So anyway, I hope you enjoyed this quick episode. Sending you all so much love. And if this resonated, please share it. Or if you haven't already, please subscribe. And if this is the first time you're listening in, hello. This is probably a really random one that you jumped into. Listen to the amazing interviews, especially the past 10 interviews. They've been amazing. And you may want to listen to, I think it was episode 130. That was the one where I gave the part one of this update. All right. Have a beautiful day, evening, night, wherever you're at. And I'll see you soon. Cheers. To help you feel more supported and nourished in your body and nervous system, you're invited to download the free I Am Supported meditation in the show notes. May you feel grounded in who you are as you become the fullest expression of yourself. Thank you for listening to the Sacred Emergence podcast. Make sure you subscribe so you don't miss an episode, and thank you in advance for sharing with those who can benefit. Until next time.